Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and I'm back here with more stories I found on Reddit. Today we're going to be talking about relationships, just in general. We'll use things like Reddit relationships, Reddit relationship advice, and the whole thing might just be Am I the Asshole stories. Wouldn't be the first time. Well, let's get started with relationship problems from Reddit. Am I the asshole for announcing to both families that we eloped? Me, male 31, and my wife, female 26, have big families. Both families were excited to share our special day, and they came up with suggestions during wedding planning phase, which was a complete nightmare. Both families sent long lists of guests when I told them they needed to cut down the list because we can't afford many people. Both families refused and tried to exclude each other's. The wedding date got rescheduled several times because both families couldn't agree on a specific date. This went on for 6 months. My sister wanted to be one of my wife's bridesmaids, but my wife already arranged for that. My brother-in-law wanted to be my best man, but I already had my friend as best man. They argued about everything from the music to the menu. I had a family member write my own speech for me, saying he was helping. And Mom wanted my wife to buy the wedding dress she liked. This caused both families to argue. I was getting fed up, but they said they just wanted to share our special day with us. Me and my wife come from different towns. My parents insisted to have the wedding in our hometown, while my in-laws demanded to have it in their town. Every night they'd call with ultimatums, making this their hill to die on. My wife and I decided one morning to just elope, and we made proper arrangement for this to happen without our families knowing. Our parents kept calling to ask about the wedding. We decided to get both families together to make an announcement. As soon as we saw them, they started talking about the wedding and insisting we do what they want. My wife and I stood in the middle of the living room and took a deep breath. I counted to 3, then we said it together. We eloped! The room went quiet. My dad yelled, "My diabetes!" as he was in shock. My sister immediately took a seat. My mother-in-law blew up and started yelling, asking how could we do this to them and act so selfishly towards the people who wanted to share our joy. Now we took that away from them and asked what their guests were going to think after what we pulled. I argued that we tried to accommodate as much as we could, but it's impossible to make everyone happy. Besides, they were being unreasonable and too involved in a manner that concerned me and my wife. Mom told me to stop calling her my wife. She's not my wife, since to them we didn't get married yet. And demanded we start planning the wedding and send out invitations to celebrate in both towns. That way both families are happy. I called them unreasonable and said it won't happen. I just walked out with my wife and they kept calling and texting. No social media, though, to get us to do it. Still insisting we're not married yet, and will never be, till we have not 1 but 2 official weddings. Just want to say this happened before in every wedding in both families. For ages, the definition of the word wedding is shit show, at least in my family's dictionary. God, what an awful situation. I'll admit I largely covered this one because the dad yelling my diabetes is the funniest thing I've ever heard. However, I think eloping was the correct move here. Both families sound really insufferable. Okay, this next one features a really dumb situation and a really dumb question. Our therapist, 29 male, asked if he could watch my girlfriend, 26 female, and I, 26 male, have sex. Is this a complete non-starter? My girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years. We don't really believe in marriage, but our relationship is basically like a marriage. For most of our relationship, we've had a great sex life, but a little while ago we started to have some intimacy troubles, mostly related to self-confidence issues, mostly on my part. So we started seeing a couples/sex therapist, which has been helping. An important detail is that he's not a literal therapist. Like, he's not licensed or anything. He's basically just a friend of a friend who's really good at helping people sort out communication issues and things like that. We meet with him for 45 minutes once a week, so functionally it's really just like going to therapy. I know this might seem weird, but it's way more affordable than an actual therapist, lol. Recently, he asked us if we would be open to him watching us have sex, either in person or making a tape for him. He was very upfront that it wasn't related to the therapy. He just finds us both attractive and would be into watching us if we were okay with that. He could have couched it as part of the therapy process, but he was totally honest about where he was coming from, and I definitely respect that. I feel a little torn, and I'm pretty sure my girlfriend does too. I find the idea kind of exciting, and I know from past conversations that it's something my girlfriend is open to/interested in. Like in a vacuum, it's something we could see ourselves doing, but it just feels so much more complicated since he's our therapist. He said that we could end our therapeutic relationship if that would make us more comfortable with the idea, but I'm hesitant to do so because I feel like we still have more to gain from it. Do people think this is feasible? And if so, does anyone have advice for how to navigate it as best as possible? Well, first and foremost, they are adults so they can do what they want, but still, An actual therapist isn't allowed to do something like this, right? I've got to feel like there are rules against it for a reason. And would this guy really have fallen for it if the therapist asked him for a sex tape as part of the therapy? I do like how the guy wants it so much he offers to end the therapy. What a situation these people have gotten themselves into. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, content warning on the next one. I wrote gross in all caps in my notes, so it's probably going to be gross. My 28 female, significant other, 34 male, has some absolutely disgusting habits that I just can't handle anymore. Didn't disclose specifics in the title so that anyone with a weak stomach won't accidentally read this. My significant other does some really gross shit. I've known some of it since sometime in the first year, but it has progressively gotten worse over time. I don't know if this is because of stress or just him being more comfortable in front of me. We've been together for 6 years now. Anyway, here we go. He picks his nose, eats his boogers, eats his scabs and dandruff. I've even seen him eat the dirt from under the nails on both his toes and fingers. He will even peel skin off of his feet/toes and eat it. He will just casually do this at home in front of me or in the car. Oh my god, it is gross. Good thing I gave that warning. Know that this is most likely a behavioral disorder, but I have a weak stomach and have thrown up before because it grosses me out so bad. Not to mention, it is embarrassing and we have an impressionable toddler. Even if I call him out for it when he does it in front of me, he completely denies it as if I just hallucinated and accuses me of keeping him under a microscope. Asking him not to do it is pretty much off the table because he can't even admit that he just did it in the first place. I hate to break our family up over nose picking, but I haven't even kissed him in years because of it. I can't really live the rest of my life with this constant repulsion, not to mention the gaslighting. Jesus Christ, leave him like 6 years ago. You shouldn't be so disgusted by your partner that you're puking. Amazing that I have to say that. I think this next one is kind of sad. 23 male. My mom blames anime for my social problems and knows I have a waifu and I don't know what to do. I have horrible social skills. I always have for as long as I can remember. I'm pretty much a recluse/shut-in. I suffer from loneliness. I've never really had friends or a girlfriend. But I do have a waifu. She's very special to me and an important part of my life. Without her, I probably would succumb to the loneliness. I also watch a ton of anime. I watch it every day, I enjoy it, and it's also sort of a cope/security blanket for me. A personal favorite is Yu-Gi-Oh!, which happens to be the show my waifu is from. My mom, however, just doesn't get it. She views anime as toxic and that it ruined me, which isn't true. I've been a poor, sociable person for as long as I can remember, not because of the anime. Recently, my little brother, 8, saw my Yu-Gi-Oh! Collection and asked to borrow one of the DVDs. He saw it and thought it was really interesting and kept watching, getting one DVD after the other. My mom wasn't happy about it. She's always been pretty outspoken on the hatred of it. I always just assumed she thought it was weird, but she hates it for other reasons. She flat out told me that I shouldn't have got him into this stuff. I asked what the big deal is and she said it was toxic, and I knew how much she hates it. That it was corrupting his mind. I just straight up asked what the big deal was, and she said anime warped my mind and ruined me and she didn't want my brother to be like that. She didn't want him to be like me were her exact words. It's the first time she's mentioned my reclusive lifestyle. She's never mentioned anything like, why are you staying home? Don't you have friends to hang out with? Or ever if I was interested in girls, she never mentioned I spent weekends and holidays just holed up in my room at all as a teen. She also found out I have a waifu. He was watching the show, Mom was there with him, I walked in. It was an episode with Mai in it, she's the special character to me. I had a huge smile because seeing this character always makes me happy. She asked why I was smiling and I just told her she was my favorite character. She also used my phone without permission and found some non-safe for work photos of the character. I have over 100 pics like that of this character, along with a couple letters from her that someone else wrote for me as her, and asked what all that was. I just shrugged, I didn't really know what to say. She said, 'cause it's all the same character. I finally confessed that I'd been in love with the character for a while. She said, I knew it, I knew that anime shit was toxic. Don't let brother borrow any more of this shit, and stormed off. I honestly don't know what to feel or say at all. She apparently knew I was horrible with people and never took an interest or mentioned it until I showed my brother a hobby of mine. We usually treat waifuism in a comedic sense here, but this story is kinda sad. This guy needs some help and he's not going to get it from his mom. I know he's 23 years old, but that's still pretty young. It's not too late to change. And he does still seem to be living there. Unfortunate to see the mother just writing off one of her kids so she can concentrate on the younger sibling. I kind of remember Yu-Gi-Oh! Wasn't Mai a bitch? Anyway, let me know what you think about the story. I looked at his post history and it seems to be completely real. He is definitely obsessed with that character. Okay, one more. Will I be the asshole if I made a petition to get a coworker fired? Okay, before any details, yes, you will be the asshole if you do that, ever. So on Fridays at my warehouse job, I like to spice things up by having a joke of the day, and will tell it to anyone that will listen. Last Friday, one of my coworkers didn't like my joke that went as such. Did you hear the joke about the deaf guy? No, he didn't either. His coworker was apparently so broken up by this that if what I'm told is true, they broke down crying in the break room and went to the boss demanding I be fired. I was sent home early that day. I'm told their sensitivity on the matter comes from the fact that their mother is deaf, which I was unaware of. So come Monday, I intend to pass a petition around letting everyone know what happened, and the petition itself will state that all signers believe this coworker is creating a hostile work environment. Edit. Seeing these responses, it's clear I am in the wrong, but allow me to justify further. Every single person I told this joke to laughed. I told my manager, my supervisor, literally only this coworker had a problem with my joke. This is also the kind of environment where this joke also got laughs. My ex came crawling back to me the other day. I knew she wouldn't get far without the wheelchair. Edit. Thank you to everyone who's commented. You've helped me check myself before I've wrecked myself. While I'm still of the opinion I've done nothing wrong and that my coworker is simply overreacting, I won't be going through with my petition idea. What I will do, however, is perform a character assassination by letting everyone know I was almost fired over my joke. Okay, I'm willing to say it's an overreaction, sure, but what is this guy thinking? How much of a dick would you look like making a petition to get someone fired? Also, I can't imagine it'd work. Like, fired for what? Well, I wish him luck with his character assassination. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have some input on one of these stories or my content in general, let me hear it in the comments. I usually see all the recent ones. If you're new here and think you might like more content like this, consider subscribing. People put a lot of importance in that number. Thanks also to my generous patrons who support me more directly. It really helps out. I'll be shouting them out again soon here. There will be a Halloween video, by the way, or I have one planned at least, so be ready for that. Have a great day, everyone, and my diabetes!